Chapter 144 and 147. After Nala recovered from the haunted mansion, we got up and continued walking around while also doing some less exciting activities. In one of the games, we played you had to throw a baseball at a bullseye, and in doing so it would drop a person that's hanging above a pool of water. The game was easy, as all you needed was some hand-eye coordination, which you must have to fire key blasts accurately, so I dunked the fool into the water and won a giant stuffed animal of a monkey, quite ironic if you ask me. Sage dash, here Nala, you can have it. Nala dash, I don't need it, I have a much bigger life like anyways. Nala had winked at me after she finished her words, and of course, I didn't immediately get what she meant, so I just assumed she had an even bigger stuffed animal of a monkey somewhere in her lab. It sounded quite weird, but I've seen Nala have even weirder stuff in her lab. Since I didn't need the stuffed animal and Mia didn't want it, we just left it there and continued on to another game which was pretty much the same, just instead of hitting a bullseye, I had to knock down some bottles stacked on top of each other. Just like the previous game, it only required some hand-eye coordination, so it was also an easy win, though once again something ironic happened, I won a stuffed animal of a snake this time. Sage, I don't need this, I already have Nala now. I get what she meant from before. Well, I was never much of the romantic type, so I guess it's acceptable that I misunderstood her. Leaving the stuffed animal of the snake, we continued exploring while partaking in many different activities, and while I wasn't having that much fun, both Mia and Nala were. Besides, I may not have enjoyed Dreamland, but I was enjoying the time spent with both of them. Nala dash, alright, I think it's time we try the most popular ride at Dreamland, the Nightmare. Mia dash, are you sure mother, doesn't that sound scary? Nala dash, for your information Mia, I was merely faking my reactions when we explored the haunted mansion, I figured it would be more fun. Neither one of us believed her claim of faking it, but we decided it would be best if we didn't question her about it. Sage dash, so what's this nightmare? Nala dash, I don't know, I just read it on the brochure and it had an entire page for itself, so it must be fun then. Sage dash, well then, lead the way. While following behind Nala, it didn't take long till we arrived at our destination, though when I saw how long the line was, I wanted to turn back immediately. Mia dash, ugh, do we have to wait in such a long line? Can't we just force our way to the front? Nala dash, I said no powers little miss, so we'll have to wait just like everyone else, besides it won't be that long anyways. Mia groaned in frustration and I mentally sighed while we all got in line and waited. Neither I nor Mia were the type of people who have patience, so after about 10 minutes we just started messing around, from me scaring people with my intimidating appearance, to Mia stealing stuff from people, and while Nala said no powers, Mia still had her insane physical strength and flexibility to be able to maneuver around crowds of people easily. Sage dash, what did you steal this time Mia, anything cool? Mia dash, no, it's all just lame stuff, like car keys, wallets, and some weird rubbers. As she held out her hands showing everything she has stolen, I picked up the packaged rubbers and read the contents. Sage dash, strawberry flavored condom, what's a condom? Opening up the package, I unfold the rubber inside and notice it resembles the shape of a finger, so I put it on my finger, though I had a feeling that's not what it's used for. Mia dash, that looks stupid, father. Sage dash, whatever, it wasn't that interesting anyways, how about seeing if there's any money in the wallets? Nala dash, what about money and wallets? Quickly turning around from the voice coming from behind, we see Nala with her arms folded while looking quite annoyed. Nala dash, mind telling me where you got those things from, Mia? Mia dash, the ground? Nala dash, do you take me for a fool Mia, go and return those wallets back right now. Mia sighed and walked off, following Nala's orders, though when I thought it was over, she had to lecture me as well. Nala dash, and what about you Sage? Are you not her father? You should be teaching her to act better, and what the hell were you teaching Mia with that condom? Sage dash, I am teaching her, last time she got caught stealing, this time no one caught her, and why are you getting so worked up about a condom? Nala dash, what do you mean why? Mia is only 8 years old, she doesn't need to know about sex, how irresponsible can you be? Sage dash, you're confusing me, what does a condom have to do with anything related to sex? Nala dash, Sage, do you not know what a condom is? Sage dash, TSK, do you think we would be having this conversation if I knew what it was? When I said that, Nala grabbed her forehead while sighing in defeat before slithering closer and pulling the condom off my finger, she then threw it far away in the distance. Nala dash, just forget Sage. I was still confused about why she was so angry previously, but when Mia returned I forgot about it and started playing around with her, though luckily with everything that had happened, it was finally our turn to experience the nightmare. The ride had 5 carriages with each one housing 2 rows of 3 seats, so luckily all of us could sit right next to each other, though getting in the seats we had this harness that came from above, and while Nala and Mia could buckle up fine, I was too large for it to fit over my upper body, so I decided to just ride without. Employee dash, sir, we can't start the ride unless you properly buckle up. Sage dash, tch, here, happy now. I just pulled it down and kept it in place with my tail so that she would quickly start this stupid ride, which she did once she returned back to her station. When I was no longer within the employee's view, I moved my tail back, which caused the harness to return to its normal position. We were getting pulled up a steep railway by some chain and it continued for almost 2 minutes, which by the end we were just a few feet away from the top of the glass ceiling, and then when we went over the peak, the next thing that happened was a long drop, followed by several loops and tight turns, though while the humans behind us were having a great time, all of us were quite bored. When the ride was finally over, we got out and made our way through the exit back into the traffic of humans. Nala dash, well that was quite disappointing. Mia dash, what did you expect mother, human inventions are quite boring. Sage dash, I have to agree with Mia, the only human with interesting inventions is Bulma, every other human creation is lame. While walking through Dreamland still disappointed at the ride from before, all of a sudden there's an explosion nearby before a group of masked men holding weapons appear out of nowhere shooting into the sky. Leader dash, everybody get on the fucking ground right now, this is a hostage situation, anyone who moves gets shot. Their sudden arrival caused mass panic among the humans, though when one of them shot their gun in the sky, it causes all the humans to quickly drop to the ground with their hands above their heads. Leader dash, you guys, go and search them for valuables and make sure they cooperate. A couple of the mobs nodded and started walking amongst the hostages while checking them for valuables, however, when they got closer to our location a few of them noticed none of us were lying on the ground and started threatening us with their weapons. Mob 1 dash, hey you 3, our leader already told you to get the fuck on the ground, so why the hell are you still standing? All I respond with was a raise of my eyebrow while looking at them as if they were fools, which they were, at least from our point of view. Mob 1 dash, alright, you guys don't want to follow directions, that's fine, we already have this entire park as our hostage, killing a few of them shouldn't make a difference. Mob 2 dash, hold on man, only kill the adults, I want the little girl to myself, it'll be enjoyable raping her before her parents' corpses, hee hee dash. That insect didn't get to finish laughing as his entire body was crushed into meat paste by a swing of Nala's tail, even in my opinion it was quite brutal, especially considering throughout Nala's life she has rarely ever killed any creature, I'm the one usually doing the dirty work. Sage still, that insect was lucky to have been given a painless death for looking at my daughter like that. Looking over at Nala, I see her face is completely void of any emotion while holding on to Mia tightly. Nala dash, my mood is ruined, I'll take Mia back to the car, Sage deal with everything here. I could tell Nala was quite angry considering she didn't ask me, she ordered me, something which she hasn't done in decades, though I'm not one to complain, as I'm quite pissed as well. Sage it seems Nala's much more protective of Mia than before, though I can't blame her, I guess from her position it must have been even worse than how I felt when Mia disappeared, I was at least fighting, but Nala was merely standing on the sidelines while not being capable of protecting her own daughter. I never realized how she must have felt till now, I should talk with her about it later. Mia dash, mother what did that mean by dash? Nala dash, nothing, he meant nothing. Watching Nala carve her own way out of the encirclement by hitting everyone with her tail into chunks of meat, I turned back around and started walking toward the leader, though they were already scared shitless when they saw Nala crushing their troops, so when they saw someone as intimidating like me walking towards them, they immediately opened fire. Obviously, nothing happened, the bullets merely bounced off my skin like they were pebbles, though I did have to close my eye as a bullet to the eye would indeed cause me some serious damage. Of course, this is all under the pretense of me not utilizing ki, and only using my physical strength. Mob 3-L leader, the bullets are ineffective, they're bouncing off of him. Leader dash, I can see that idiot, tch, if bullets don't work, how about this? When I no longer felt the tickles of bullets hitting me, I opened my eyes and saw the leader throw something at me, reaching out I caught it in my hands, though while I didn't know what it did, it reminded me of the explosive devices Nala would sometimes make, so I closed it tightly in my hand waiting for it to explode, which when it did, I felt some heat within my hand and then smoke coming out. Leader dash, even a grenade didn't do jack shit, damn it continue firing. Throwing away the destroyed pieces of the device, I closed my eyes again when they started firing, though even with my closed eyes I could still tell with my other senses that the leader is running away and I didn't like that. Grabbing a hold of some of the bullets, I threw them back where they came, which killed the masked men and flashed right in front of the leader who had almost managed to escape Dreamland. Sage dash, after ruining my wife's mood, did you think you were going to just escape? M leader dash, L listen man, I'm just the executioner, killing me won't grant you anything, you want the mastermind who set this plan all up, and if you let me live I'll tell you. I picked him up and ripped his head off of his body, dropping his body. I looked around to make sure everyone has been taken care of before quickly heading back to the car where Nala and Mia should be at. When I arrived, I saw both Nala and Mia inside the car, but seeing how Nala's face is still emotionless, I stayed quiet while getting in the car. Once I was in, Nala started driving the car back home. During the half-hour ride, none of us said anything and just stayed quiet. By the time we arrived home, I decided it would be best if I talked with Nala right now and not wait any longer. Rolling the window down, I grabbed a hold of Mia with my tail and threw her out of the window far off in the distance. Sage dash, come back in 30 minutes Mia. After I threw Mia out, it was just Nala and me, though seeing as Nala didn't have any reaction when I threw Mia out of the window, I spoke up first. Sage dash, what's wrong with you? Nala dash, nothing is wrong with me. Sage dash, really, then why are you yelling when I ask such a simple question? Her anger started slowly fading when I asked that question. Nala dash, because dash. Sage dash, stop trying to hide the truth from me Nala, you're my wife, and I've known you for over 30 years, so just tell me the truth. With those words, the facade of anger she put up instantly collapsed while she poured her true feelings out. Nala dash, because I'm scared. I'm scared I'll lose Mia again, I'm scared something similar will happen like before where I'm forced to be on the sidelines and watch as my daughter and husband get killed while I'm too weak to do anything about it. I'm scared to be a disappointment and failure of a mother to Mia, I'm scared. When she finished speaking, she busted out into tears and started crying. Now I may not be the best when it comes to comforting someone, but I did what I could. Wrapping my arms around her, I bring her into a hug and let her cry to her heart's content. After about 15 minutes of crying, she finally calmed down enough to initiate conversation again. Nala dash, what about you Sage, do you not feel scared? Sage dash, of course I feel scared at the prospect of losing Mia again. Why do you think I've been training constantly for 4 years, with barely any rest? But what's the point in constantly worrying? It'll only lead to a bad mentality. All you can do is put in all your effort and do your best. Anything past that is out of your control. However, I'm not scared about anything else. You're smart and powerful, so I'm not worried about losing you, and I know I'll always be a great father to Mia, so there's that. Nala dash, I guess you're kinda right, still it's quite funny how I'm getting comforted by you, a battle-loving Saiyan. Sage dash, for your information, I may be a battle-loving Saiyan, but I'm not stupid and you're my wife. Nala dash, yep, I'm your wife, you're my husband, and Mia's our daughter. After that, we just sat in silence while snuggling, though not too long later, Mia came back and surprised Nala. Mia dash, tch, don't throw me out of the car like that next time. Sage dash, why not, you're still too weak to stop me. Mia dash, just so you know father, I've gotten considerably more powerful than the last time you saw me, so I wouldn't be surprised if I'm almost as strong as you. Sage dash, oh, is that so little girl, well then how about we test that theory. With a smile, I get out of the car while releasing some of my power at Mia, though I got smacked in the back of my head by Nala. Nala dash, my goodness, what's wrong with you two, all you guys wanna do is fight. Anyways, it's been a long day, so I'm sure you guys are hungry. I'll go and cook some food, and no more fighting just because I'm not here. With a stern look, Nala slithered away up into the spaceship, and Mia fired a key blast at my face before following right behind Nala, while sticking her tongue out at me. Sage, I'll get my revenge, just you wait Mia. Laughing, I followed behind both of them up the stairs and into the spaceship while craving some food. For the next month, all we did was enjoy each other's presence while doing several family activities, at least that's what Nala called them. We visited the beach, played some volleyball, sunbathed, and just hung out. Then we went to an aquarium and learned about many different types of aquatic animals, though I thought this part was useless as we could all breathe underwater and watch the creatures in their natural habitat rather than through a glass wall. That reminds me, after spending almost all of our life together, I had just discovered that Nala was not only an insanely great swimmer, but she could also breathe underwater without any help from runes. It made sense that I didn't know because when we were younger, we had never gone to planets with the intention of visiting the ocean. Still, though, for me to have just found that out is quite crazy considering Nala knows everything about me, well except that I have some of my past life memories. Once we finished with the aquarium, we drove to watch one of Yamcha's baseball games, which he had won. It was somewhat entertaining, but neither Mia nor I are that interested in human sports. What was fun though, was when we visited Capsule Corporation and saw how happy Goten and Trunks were when they saw Mia. Those two had grown somewhat in the past 2 years, though not enough to make a noticeable difference. Another thing is that while I spent 3 years in that timeline, for if you count the HTC, I have only been gone from this timeline for about 22 months, still quite long but not nearly as long as 3 years. While Mia, Goten, and Trunks had their reunion party, Nala, Bulma, and I had our own conversation, while I was mainly listening as they were mostly talking about science stuff. We had some dinner with them before eventually returning home, with an exhausted Mia. Though the most fun I had other than spending time as a family, was towards the end of the month when Mia had asked Nala if she could go play with Goten and Trunks since she hasn't seen them in a long time. Nala had agreed, which surprised me, but the moment Mia left the house, Nala's eyes changed. No longer was it filled with motherly love, instead, it was filled with love and lust she had been keeping to herself for over almost 2 years, so I could practically smell it. Of course, with our libido, a couple of hours wouldn't be enough to satisfy us, mainly Nala, but luckily I have an intelligent wife who had managed to create a room engraved with runes that slowed down time equal to that of the HTC. I obviously won't go into the details of our sex life as that information is kept private between Nala and me, but all I know is that we went into that room in the morning and left it around the time of the sunset, though the crazy thing was after we had finished Nala had no more white hairs, which I was kinda disappointed about as Nala with white hairs is highly arousing. Anyways, after that little family month, our life continued just like how it used to before Mira attacked for a few days before something had to interrupt the peace we had. While I was training with Mia in the gravity chamber under 900x Earth's gravity, I suddenly received a call from the phone Cronoa had given me before I left Toki City, reaching into my pocket and answering the phone all while still training with Mia. Sage, it seems Tawa has just recently made a move, so we would like you to come with us. Of course, if you're too busy we can call 21, though I would prefer not to. Sage, alright, but just a heads up, I can't cross timelines by myself, both times I've had outside help. Don't worry, I asked Ms. Cronoa for something just in case this would happen, so just hold on a second. Hanging up the phone, I dodge one of Mia's attacks before hitting her in the stomach and kicking into the wall. Walking toward the center of the chamber, I turn off the gravity and then help Mia up. Mia, ugh, that hurt father. Sage, stop whining, you merely have a broken bone, it'll heal overnight. Anyways, something important came up so I must go deal with it. Make sure to tell Nala, I don't want her to be angry with me if she finds out I just disappeared without any warning. Mia, does it involve fighting? If so, can I come? Sage, firstly, yes, otherwise why would they call me, and secondly, no, this is most likely going to be dangerous so I can't worry about protecting you while fighting, besides you're still hurt. Mia, fine. Watching Mia leave the gravity chamber, I was going to go grab the towels and follow right behind her, but instead, I'm suddenly teleported to a completely different area. I at first thought this was an enemy's doing, so I instantly went on guard, but when I saw Trunks, Vegeta, and Kakarot, I calmed, though I was annoyed at their way of transporting me. Sage, TSK, how about giving me a warning next time? So anyways, what's the deal with Tao this time? Trunks, we've found evidence of them interfering with the timeline where you previously were in. Other than knowing the location of where they went, we don't have any other information, as we decided it would be best to call you first and then go together as a group. Sage, well then, since I'm here, let's get moving. Vegeta, yeah, I want to finally beat up the coward hiding in the background. Goku, same as well, their interference would have caused a lot of deaths if weren't for us. With that, we all head to Trunks' spaceship that was in the distance. Once we arrived, we got in, went to the cockpit, and sat down, while Trunks started flying. Sage, so, where are we going? Vegeta, Galactic Patrol Prison. Never heard of it. Sage, that place. I've been there a few times when I was younger, but it wasn't anything interesting, just a place full of weak criminals. Trunks, well, something important must have been there for Tawa to head there. Goku, so all we got to do is stop whatever she's planning, just like what we always do. A few hours passed with most of us doing some sort of training, Trunks as well since he put the vehicle on autopilot, but currently, we have just landed at the Galactic Patrol Prison, and are about to investigate. Meru's, here's the reinforcements, the Time Patrollers. Hearing a familiar voice, I turn around while everyone else turns around when they hear the word Time Patrollers, though Kakarot and Vegeta get shocked, or I should say Kakarots and Vegetas got shocked. Goku, oh, hey, it's Sage and it seems you've brought Trunks, and why is there another me and Vegeta? Vegeta, they must be our counterparts that Sage talked about. Goku, there I am, and just like Sage said, I can't sense their ki. Vegeta, so that's the other me who is supposedly a Super Saiyan god? _________________________________________________________________________________________________________ The X before Vegeta's or Kakarot's name is short for Xeno Vegeta or Xeno Kakarot. It should also help in differentiating between which timeline they originally came from, since Xeno Kakarot and Xeno Vegeta are from Sage's timeline. While both Kakarots and Vegetas interact with each other, Trunks, Meru's, and I watch on the sides as we're a little interested to see how things develop. Goku dash, hehe, since you another me then you must be strong, let's fight. Goku dash, I also wish to fight against my own counterpart, but we can do that later as we've come for an important mission. Vegeta dash, so you're the other me Sage talked about, your power doesn't disappoint me. Vegeta dash, TSK, I don't need to hear that from someone who abandoned their Saiyan heritage in exchange for power. Vegeta dash, it seems our different experiences have caused you to stay arrogant, how about I change that for you? While both Kakarots acted like old friends after not having seen each other for some time, both Vegetas were like old enemies ready to fight at any given moment, and while I would enjoy watching that fight, we are currently in a giant space fortress which isn't the best place for a fight, besides we did come here for an important reason. Sage dash, you two calm down, if you wish to fight you can fight after we've solved this stuff, anyways Meru's, mind telling us what happened in more detail? With my warning, both Vegetas clicked their tongue before heading toward us along with Kakarots. When everyone arrived, Meru started explaining in detail while walking behind him as he started leading us somewhere. Meru's dash, yes, a few days ago, the Galactic Patrol's most dangerous criminal, Planet Eater Moro, suddenly escaped from his prison while simultaneously freeing everyone else. Of course, if that was it, you time patrollers wouldn't have been sent here, but after looking over the tapes, I noticed that while Moro escaped he only did so with outside help from two people, if you'll take a look. Walking into a security-looking office, we watch on one of the monitors as it plays footage from just before Moro escaped prison. At first, everything looked normal, nothing interesting, but suddenly a portal appeared just before Moro's cell, and out of it came Mira and Tawa following right behind. They started talking, and sadly we couldn't hear anything, but when Tawa broke Moro out of his cell it didn't take a genius to realize they must have come to some kind of agreement. Just before leaving through the portal Tawa tapped her staff on the ground which caused the opening of every cell in the prison, releasing every single prisoner, whether they were strong or weak, and then Tawa finally left. Trunks dash, Tawa and Mira, what could they possibly want with this Moro fellow? Meru's dash, that I have no idea, but what I do know is that if Moro is left alone he'll devour planet after planet until there is no one strong enough to stop him. Goku dash, so then what should we do? Do we go after Tawa and Mira or Moro first? Vegeta dash, whoever is easier to deal with, let's get them out of the way first and then deal with the tougher opponents last. Vegeta dash, tisk, easier said than done, we've been hunting down Tawa for over a year, and we haven't come any closer to finding her, so she's a no-go. Sage dash, same with Mira, he isn't too big of a deal, but he is also annoying to find. Goku dash, well then let's go after Moro then, besides he seems to be the most dangerous one right now, no? The six of us had a short discussion on who we should chase after and we ultimately decided on Moro as we had just gotten news of a reported planet getting turned into a floating lifeless rock. Neither Kakarots were happy when they heard that and they tried using instant transmission, but they couldn't locate any powerful key, so we went ahead and used Trunks' spaceship. Half an hour later, we arrived at where the planet was reported to be and just saw a rock floating in space instead, but we expected that. The reason why we actually came here was that apparently, Trunks' spaceship could track other spaceships by sensing the movement in space. Don't know how it works, all I know is that if Moro is somewhat close by we'll be able to track them. Sage dash, any luck? Trunks dash, yes, but there's a problem, when I compare the direction they're traveling to the map, they seem to be heading to dash. Goku dash, new Namek. Trunks dash, yes, since that's where Moro's heading he must have gotten information about the Dragon Balls from somewhere, and if he gets his hands on them we could have some serious problems. Vegeta dash, then what are you waiting for, hurry up and follow them, and Kakarots when we're close enough, teleport us to Namek. While Trunks was following behind the trail left from Moro's spaceship, Kakarot suddenly stood up. Goku dash, found Namek, be right back. Then he suddenly teleported away, leaving everyone looking at where he previously stood at, in shock at his stupidity. Sage dash, did he seriously just leave us here? Vegeta dash, tch, damn that fool, Kakarot teleport us to Namek as well. Goku dash, I can't sense Namek yet, they're still out of range for me. With that revelation, we continued doing nothing while waiting for Kakarot to sense Namek. I had even thought about flying there on my own, but I don't know where Namek is and I would most likely fly past it. Goku dash, yes, I found Namek, hurry and grab a hold of me, I'll teleport us there. Hearing Kakarot, we all quickly grab onto him, and right when we do we are teleported onto a green plain with a destroyed village in the distance along with Kakarot fighting against an old goat person. However, while flying over to help, all of us sensed our ki draining from our bodies. Even when we suppressed our energy as low as possible, it didn't help much. Trunks dash, is everyone else's ki getting drained as well? Vegeta dash, tisk, yeah, and it seems to all be converging towards Moro. Sage dash, well then, if he's absorbing our ki that's definitely going to be a problem with me here. I'm pretty much a rechargeable battery to him. Huh, my goodness, why can't the enemies ever be people who don't need to absorb other people to get more powerful? While grumbling in frustration, we arrive at the battlefield after flying over the destroyed village that's covered in Namekian corpses and notice that Kakarot is slightly exhausted even though he hasn't been fighting for that long. Goku dash, oh you guys finally made it, I'm going to need some help. Moro is quite powerful and he has some weird ability that allows him to absorb our energy which in turn makes him stronger. X Vegeta dash, tch, we're not stupid, we can see that, and next time don't go off by yourself fool. Moro dash, well, it seems you six have finally arrived. Ms. Tawa had informed me about you, though she never did say someone incredibly powerful was amongst you guys. When Moro opened his mouth, we all looked over at him and watched how he threw off his cloak revealing an old skinny body with a huge beard, though while it was slow, his bread seems to be shrinking as we speak. Sage don't tell me he's getting younger. Ugh, annoying, can I just fight someone like Cumber again? At least I don't have to worry about him absorbing my ki in the middle of the fight.